I promised y'all that we'd run through the deck, and I got the most qualified guy in the world to do it, the rigger of this fine vessel, Mr. Henderson. Welcome back.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you for having me. And you know, a lot of our readers wanted to know, you know, what are the bits and pieces, what do they do? So I figured we just do a whole tour.
Sure, sounds good.
So go ahead and go from the pointy end. Tell me what we've got and how it works. And
righto. So we sort of start with 2-to-1 tack lines here that become 4-to-1, so we can deal with the loads back at the pit.
Yeah. Where are the purchases?
We've got 2-to-1 out the front here, so they're both dead end on those two friction fittings out the very front. Yeah. And then they run back to like a cascading block that turns them into 4.
The ones that slide on the deck too.
Yeah. It's all pretty big gear. So we're running 13mm ducks here, which is around 24-ton brake to deal with a 2-to-1 to deal with a 16-ton tack load on these sails, which gives us around about 20 up the top.
And that's on the big zero.
Yep. The big zeros, the downwind zeros, are the reaching zeros. So all these fittings are friction fittings, so to get rid of all the traditional roller bearings. So they can generate a bit of heat with the rope. So we generally run Spectra cover. This isn't the best example. We run Spectra covers on the on all this stuff for the heat dissipation. Yeah. And on our racing set we've got PBO cover for heat dissipation because it deals better with the heat. So these
and since you're on electrics, then you know the friction isn't that big of an issue to pull things in and out. You've always got enough power.
Not a big deal, yeah. And we generally grease up the rope too with a bit of silicone grease, so it moves pretty nice and it's nice and quiet. So this gives us all this range here. Gives us a bit of range throughout the 5 degrees of rake we carry. So.
Do you just use standard silicone grease, or is there something special you use, or
nothing? You know, just standard silicone.
Is it one of those tricks that you're not going to tell me about again?
No, you can just generally get any of that. You know, just to keep it a little bit moist, because when the stuff gets dry, it gets hot really easy. So on those big eases when you're going to furl, you can, you know, because this stuff's got a pretty low melting point, so you got to look after it.
I think a lot of people are going to you know, rollerless stuff now, even for you know, far 40s and things like that. Just take it out where you can. So anything that can help, I think, you know.
I think we've all seen the block that sort of stops moving at a certain amount of load, and looked at it and said, well, maybe we could just put a friction fitting in there. So. Yeah.
So let's keep going.
Yeah, sure. So back here, pretty standard for a lot of boats, but the only, you know, with a tack frame, I mean, a lot of the boats run shuttles up and down here. There's a number of ways of doing it, but still pretty big gear, T30 tack shackle, and there's a ram inside here with about 350mm stroke to deal with the tack tensioning. Right. And this ram inside here, basically trunnion mounted at the deck here, deals with the 5 degrees of rake range. So.
And then this is your your rake control right here.
Right here. Yep.
And is that 5 degrees, is that just for upwind, downwind settings, light air, heavy air settings, or is this a ratings issue?
Well, we sail it at a certain rate for IRC rating, which is 1 degree, and then for the offshore stuff, the boat benefits from more rake in certain configurations.
Got it. But then IRC penalises you if you have a certain range of rake, is that how it goes?
Yeah, we can't, basically we're not allowed to move the thing when we're racing under IRC, which, I mean, the thing doesn't rate anyway under IRC, so it's a bit of a moot point. But yeah, so all carbon rigging on this boat, apart from the furling stays, which are PBO.
Cool.
So coming aft, we've got this is our Solent stay attachment here. So this is a sort of born of the ABN concept, where they're coming back off a Hank sail on the forestay back to something that furls to change and for a sort of a heavy air upwind configuration. And this is just a uni-wound Dyneema drop made by Future Fibers. So that connects to a ram.
And will this come out? Will the Solent will come out at what wind speed?
A little depends on the wind angle. I mean, you can use it to change sails, change reaching sails if you're locked out up top. But you know, you're looking around, I'd say around 22-25 knots. Yeah. And would you already be upwind? Would you already be into a reef yet, or not quite? I'd say so. Most likely. Yeah.
So first reef, and then go to the Solent from the 2.
Pretty much, yeah. So you stay on the J2, and then 1 reef, and then you're probably into the Solent straight after that. Got it.
Cool. And there's another stay too, isn't there?
Yeah, this is just a staysail stay. So you can get a storm jib on that, and this same deal. Got a ram to attach it, a 20-ton lock up the rig, and we just tension it with a tack. So both of these stays and sails are, you know, they've got their own stay, and they're lashed between top and bottom, and they're tensioned. So there's no tack tensioning systems. You're basically just tensioning the stay, and the thing furls and unfurls.
And they're all dedicated, so you're not. Yeah, that's interesting.
Simple.
Yeah, super simple. Cool. Gigantic hatch here.
So these are just these are the 2-to-1.
The 2-to-1s.
See them that well, but they're the 2-to-1s that we're talking about. Boards are all pretty self-explanatory.
What is it that goes out to the that second stay again, the off the bow?
There's just just in front of the pulpit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the J1. That's our sort of light air up to 8 knots headsail.
Got it. Okay,
yeah.
Haven't seen that one yet.
So this is our jib sheeting arrangement, and we can sheet the solent and staysail off here too. Same sort of deal. We just run friction type gear with 2-to-1s going back to clutches that hold them back at the pit, so we can free up some pit winches.
What about the shrouds? I mean, is there any messing around with those, or are those locked and forget them? And
they're set and forget.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got
you got checks to deal with the bend and.
Yeah. The rig setup's reasonably complicated because there are a lot of different load cases as you drop the rig forward and aft with different sail configurations. So it ends up being pretty handy to have a guy like Steve Wilson here to when you're first sailing again to get your head around it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a little surprising to see inline rig on a boat like this. You sort of the modern sort of fashion is for everything to be swept. What are the big advantages that you get out of this rig, and does it mean how many more people does it mean you have to have on the boat?
Yeah, well, it doesn't. What it does is it makes it more complex. I mean, the main reason of having an inline rig is to be able to change rake through a large range. So that allows the mast to move freely forward and aft, adjusted by the runners and the forestay ram. In terms of personnel, it really all comes down to sail manageability. I mean, to get a big A2 down, that's where you need your most people. So that's what drives a lot of the personnel numbers, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. How many people does it take to get an A2 down in a lot of breeze?
Depends how badly you manage it, but I think we were sailing with upwards of 26 in the Bermuda last year.
How many are actually on the sail beating it down? Yeah, I imagine you do letterboxes.
Yeah, it depends on the situation, but it can be hard with this whole boom setup.
Right.
So often you just come under the boom.
Right.
Especially if you've got lazy jacks deployed. So you might have 12 guys around this area trying to get it into the hatch. I mean, a lot of the sails, you can't fit most of the sails in the hatch, so they've got to go down the front here.
Yeah.
So not a little logistical challenge.
Nothing is little logistical challenge here.
So you can see the deck step arrangement here, allowing the mast to go through its rake range.
Right.
And a pretty nice design setup with the way the blocks are integrated into the step and makes everything work. So we've also got what have we got this side? Check stay deflector ram. Deflect the check stay. So if you look up the rig now, you can see it's pretty nicely inverted because of the load that the boom weight. If you look up the back,
you can see the inversion.
It just throws the gooseneck up and just inverts with the dock just for that nice look.
It's fast, man.
So that's check stay deflector ram 3-to-1. On the other side, we've got the fairly weighty runner deflector. So what we do is when we change to the solent sail, the runner's eased and it deflects the stay down to the solent point, so it directly opposes the solent, so we got less sag in that sail.
Got it.
So,
that's sort of innovative. And then you've got topmast backstay rams at the top of the rig. Is that right?
Yeah, I've got one inside the rig there. So it sort of does away with all the chain plates, etc., down the back there, and the strop and bone systems and all that sort of stuff.
You don't think the weight is any real detriment up there? Or?
Well, that's arguable. It's a bit of a
got to be a pretty beefy ram.
Yeah, it's a good set. I mean, everything runs at pretty high PSI, so it's not huge, but the serviceability of it is questionable. I mean, every time we take the rig out, we have to take the whole head of the rig out and replace the strops, and it's always a little bit of an unknown. So jury might be out on that one a little bit.
All right, fair enough.
And then all the usual stuff. This is the jib lock cone. All the halyards we sort of run composite covers because they have a pretty hard life, either running over spreaders or crossing back in the pit.
Do you treat them with anything at the top to keep them from getting chopped up, or everything's on a lock, isn't it?
Everything's on a lock. So these are just dynamic. These are 78 cores with Technora poly model blend, just to give them a little bit more life. I mean, polyester any polyester cover generally doesn't last long on this boat. Because you're using powered winches that are new. The drums are quite new in their life, so they're pretty gritty. So polyester halyard lasts about 10 minutes.